What is going on? If you own a power washing business and you are trying to grow and scale it, then you are in the right place. And today I've got a super special video. I was able to sit down with someone who is a phenomenal sales copywriter. And this is something that I think is often overlooked in our industry, just the power of the actual sales copy that we put into our ads, into our Facebook ads, Google ads, flyers, whatever it may be, any of our marketing message, right? It's really important, the actual words that are there, because that's how we, convey our message to potential clients. And this lady that I was able to sit down with, very honored to have had the chance to sit down with her. She's written copy for people like Russell Brunson, Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, just to name a few. Needless to say, she's very good at what she does, but I had the opportunity to sit down with her and kind of talk to her about writing copy and writing ads and marketing for, a power washing business. So please enjoy the video, and without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. Hey guys, what is going on? So I have a super special guest named Christa Nichols today, and she is a sales copywriter. So she's done work for some big names like Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, Russell Brunson, Josh Latimer. Very, very talented at what she does. So I wanted to bring her on today to give us some tips on writing better sales copy for websites, ads that we run, things like that. So, Christa, welcome.
Hey, welcome. Good to see everybody. Good to kind of virtually see you.
Yes. Well, first things first, for just a broad overview, what is sales copywriting? What is it that you actually do?
I love that question because I think sometimes when people say, I need a copywriter, they mean different things. And it's important to really know what you're asking. So, sales copy is the type of messaging and words that you use to market your services and products. So, for you guys, it would be the emails, the ads, what's on your website, and your funnels and lead forms that lead people to take an action that eventually will result in them booking your services and becoming your paid customers.
So it's a big piece of the marketing.
It is a big piece of the marketing. Yeah, your sales copy is what's going to hopefully catch their attention, make them aware of who you are and what you do, and help start forming those relationships with you as a trustworthy service provider that they want to hire.
Awesome. Awesome. And then as far as sales copy goes, what are like some of the different components of sales copy?
Sure. So you mean types of projects or
Like in an ad or in an
uh-huh.
email, like, obviously you're going to say different things in different places. So what are those actual different components that you
Yeah,
would
so
put
there's
together?
there's five objectives that sales copy needs to accomplish. Each piece of sales copy might not use all five of them, but in general, throughout your sales copy, you want to be doing these five things. The first one is capturing attention. That's going to take place in your email subject lines, that first little piece of text that people see in your ad copy, your website headlines, your sales funnel headlines. It's basically that thing that's going to stop the scroll and get people to keep reading. So I always like to say, like, it's the smallest part of your copy, but it's the most important because if it doesn't stop the scroll, if it doesn't grab their attention, they're not going to see the rest of it. So when you're thinking about capturing your audience's attention, you're thinking about what is it that they're experiencing right now? What are they thinking about? What problems do they have that I can help them solve? That I could put that in front of them in terms of an eye grabbing, attention capturing headline that would make them want to keep reading. The second thing that you're going to want your sales copy to do is you're going to want it to connect with them in a personal way. So people buy from people, especially when it comes to like the local services. They want to go with somebody that they like, somebody that they trust, somebody that other people have recommended to them. So in your sales copy, you want to make sure that you're being personable. You're kind of showing your personality a little bit, giving that a lot of times, throwing in a quick story or illustration, a testimonial, maybe a case study of something that you did for another customer that people loved. Anytime that you can differentiate yourself from your competition by just being a human in your copy is really good because that helps people feel like they know you. It helps them feel like you guys could sit down for a cup of coffee and hit it off. The third thing that you need to make sure that your sales copy is doing is communicating clearly about what you offer. So, this is a big deal because anytime people are confused about what services you offer, that just makes it harder and harder for them to make the decision to hire you. So, you want to be super clear about why they should hire you, what you will do for them, what the result is that they will get, and what how it's going to help make their life better. And if you can't differentiate yourself, it's a lot of it is about differentiating because you're not the only service provider. You're not the only power washing service provider that they could give their business to.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is about communicating so clearly about why you're different. So this could look like talking about your guarantee, talking about your seasonal specials, making sure that it's clear um, how you screen your staff. Even little things like that can make a big difference because they're looking for those things that tell them, why is this person any different than, cut rate Joe down the street that I would pay less for? And unless you tell them why you're different, unique, special, they don't know.
Yeah.
So clear communication about what makes you different, super important. The fourth thing, and we're number four is a big one that I think we forget about sometimes, and that is you gotta have a call to action. You gotta actually ask them to do the thing, right? So we can talk about how awesome our services are, but if they can't figure out like where do I go to book, to call, or where do I go to make an appointment, then that's a lost opportunity there. So just a simple ask them to do one thing type of call to action in every piece of copy that you put out there, whether it's an ad or an email or a sales funnel lead form or whatever it is. It's okay to ask them to take the action that you want them to take. And then the final piece is something that's not necessarily going to pop up in every single piece of copy that you write, but it's important to have this information out there. And that is conquering those objections. So you're going to want to make sure that you're anticipating the questions that people are going to have about your services and providing feedback and answers towards those. So you'll see this in like frequently asked questions sections of websites. You'll see it in your social media when somebody asks a question on your Facebook business page and you answer it. So those types of things, there are going to be people who will buy emotionally because they want the result and they want it right now. And then there's other people who read all the Amazon reviews and they go looking at your Google business page and they want to know the answers to absolutely everything before they make a decision. And they need that. Not everybody needs those objection busters, but that very careful, logical buyer will. And so you want to make sure that you have those 5 components: capturing attention, connecting personally, communicating clearly, call to action, and then busting up those objections that so that they can clearly see you're the choice.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. And it's very clear when you break it down like that. So that is helpful. Obviously, to do that, you kind of need to know who you're talking to, right?
Absolutely.
So, what are some things that you are looking for to determine the actual, you know,
Yeah.
avatar, I guess you could say, that
Right.
you are going after?
So for you, you're going to want to look at your location. How far ranging do you want to travel when it comes to where you'll do business? And you'll look at those neighborhoods and those subdivisions, like who is that person? What do they do for a living? How, you obviously you have a target income. It has to be somebody who can afford your services. So, what is that range of, how um, expensive their house is? Which neighborhoods are you wanting to target? What age demographic are they? Do they have young kids at home? Are they running around like crazy to sports practices and that's why they don't have time to power wash their own properties? If you're a commercial power washer, you're going to want to look at, what neighborhoods are the businesses in? What things matter to people in those neighborhoods? What clubs and organizations are they involved in? Why do they want the services that you offer? Because those things are going to be great for those attention grabbers. If they are really into like the HOA, and they have these specific things that they have to abide by in order to stay in that, their homeowners association. And they're looking at Betty Lou, whose house is shining and pristine, and looking at their own house like, I've got to do something before Betty Lou starts calling the homeowners association and getting me kicked out. You know what I mean? Like, so those are the things that you can create copy around that are super personal. And they're like, are you inside my brain? Are you living in my neighborhood? How do you know? So yeah, just looking at who those people are, what types of, lives do they lead, and then how can I make it personal to them and where they're at right now.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And then, a lot of times people ask questions like, should, just Facebook ads, for an example,
Mhm.
should a Facebook ad be super long form? Should it be short form? What are your thoughts on that?
The only way to really know is to test. So when I write ad copy for clients, we always test longer and shorter. So I'll run two side by side as a test and see which the audience responds to. As a general rule, the more expensive the service, you're going to need a little more information. So for home service businesses, generally you don't need the super, super long form copy. You're like, sigh of relief, right? Like, either they want and need the service or they don't. And you're just looking to get them to click to go through the ad to the next step. And in order to do that, you generally need a relatively short copy. So, what you're going to want to do is you can test out the longer copy for sure. That's the only way to really know. But when it comes to like home service based type of appointment setting, you're going to want to try different hooks and angles. So different pain points that they have, different emotional payoff, emotional result type thing that they're looking for. That's probably more along the lines of what you guys are going to want to test than a super short versus a super long.
Yeah, no, and that makes perfect sense. And one time, I heard you say that features tell and benefits sell. And I
Right.
thought that was very powerful. So can you kind of expand on what that actually means?
Yeah, so we all have worked really hard to build our businesses, and we've got all these things that we do for our customers. We've got the 5 point super hot, using our biodegradable cleaners and all those things. And those are important. But why are they important? So, like, what does that do to benefit the person? That's what's going to be more important to them than the fact that you have a brand new truck with, a super high pressure nozzle. Why is that important? Like, so that you can get dirt out of the cracks and their house will look like it's brand new again. And their mother in law, who's coming for Thanksgiving, now thinks that you're awesome instead of some kind of slacker. You know what I mean? Like, those are the things that people are like, yeah, that really is why I need to get my driveway done, because I'm so sick of my neighbor weed whipping and looking at me with a side eye, you know? So, yeah, so you could definitely list the features, but don't forget to mention why and what those features are going to do for them. How's it going to impact their life? How's it going to make them look better in their neighborhood? How's it going to help their um, houses stay cleaner and more allergen free for their, biosensitive kids? Those types of things really do make a difference.
Yeah, and those are the pain points that you were talking about
Mhm.
testing to see what works best, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome.
For sure.
Awesome. And then, with sales copy, obviously with home service specifically, typically there's some sort of initial ad grabs attention, they take action. Then there's an actual estimate given
Mhm.
a lot of times in person. And then, kind of goes on from there with the sales process itself. So, is the sales copy used throughout that whole thing? Is it just specifically
Yeah.
in one area? Does it change throughout? Can you kind of expand on that?
Yeah, definitely. So your initial outreach is going to be potentially towards a cold audience, somebody who's maybe not familiar with you, doesn't know what you do or what you offer. But as they get in and they book that call, they maybe have and even maybe have had your services before. Now they're in your circle, they're your warm audience. You can market more personally to them, and you can definitely, it's still sales copy because you don't want to just have them be your customers once, right? You want them to come back for your services again and again and again. So it all is still marketing. It is still like moving them towards that continuity and the recurring, appointment setting. um but you can get more personal once they're in your circle. When they're aware of what you do, you don't have to tell them again. So let's say they booked with you last spring, it's time for their fall gutter cleanup. You don't have to reintroduce yourself again, but what you can say is, hey, remember us from last spring, and we just swept all that winter detritus, and you're looking great in the spring. Let's make sure that you're going into winter with clear gutters so that you don't have any leaks, no, ice flow problems. So you're just meeting them where they're at now and going from there based on what they already know about you. They already have seen your results.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. Building a relationship, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So, and I will say I was bad about this with my power washing company when I had it, but how do you balance the whole idea of, staying in front of the clients that you've already served, but not selling them every time you're talking to them?
Hmm.
Whether it's emails that you're sending out once a month or flyers, postcards that you're sending to past clients just to keep that relationship. How do you balance the actual words copy that you're using to keep it like interactive, more relationship type than just always selling?
Right. So that's where story comes in. And just talking about like your day-to-day life. It's not all about the money. You're in this because you have a team. So you could always do a spotlight on a team member. If you're maybe sending out a monthly newsletter, you're talking about things that matter to the people in the community that you serve, not just the fact that you're a power washing business. Maybe you're out there and you stopped by the local police station and power washed their front slab. You could post some social media content that shows off some pictures, and just hey, this is what we're doing on our Saturday, just serving and helping in our community. And it's just a way to, just be a real person and show that you're not just a business in their community, you're a member of the community who's out there doing things because where you live matters to you just like it matters to them.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And I will say, it's kind of the whole idea of like small businesses want to act like big businesses and big businesses want to act like small businesses. And I did make that mistake in the very beginning. And once I realized that people just want to work with people, it was a lot easier to build those relationships, have those connections, and things like that. So yeah, that is awesome. Another question I have is with websites. So
Mhm.
not so much a landing page, like sales
Right.
funnel, but just general websites. In home services a lot, it seems like people just want beautiful websites that are very
Mhm.
aesthetically pleasing, but sometimes, more so get to talking about features and stuff like that. For just a general website that's got, the 5 pages, home, about us, all of those
Mhm.
things, do you recommend still having, sales copy in that, or should it be more just informative?
So I do think that you need to have an element of sales copy for the people who are coming there and they're looking to book. You definitely want to have that call us now button on the top in your nav bar so that there's always, like, the minute they hit your website, they don't even have to go looking for it. But like you said, it's a mix. You want your website to also educate and inform and entertain so that they're coming back for information. So I think it's a good mix. You definitely want to have some very visible pieces of your website where they can reach out to you, where they can learn about your pricing, where they can see some pictures of before and after and read the testimonials. Um, but every single page doesn't have to be all about like booking your services. It can be about, you can definitely go a little more feature on the website because people see websites as places where they can get informed about features. So it's a mix. It's a mix of both.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Just
That makes sense.
probably not what everybody wants to hear. Like, just make it easy for me, but
No,
It is.
but yeah, that does make sense. So I will ask, if say I'm, you know, early stages just starting out, would would you recommend that I need that whole website, or would just a landing page be enough? You know, what are your thoughts on that?
So I am a bootstrapper myself. Like when I started my business, I just did minimum viable product of what I needed in order to land clients and start generating some income. So if you're just getting started, a landing page is going to be a-okay as long as it does the job and helps them be able to get in contact with you. As you start generating some revenue and making some income, then you can whoa, then you can invest in something like a website, SEO, and things like that. Um, but I don't recommend that people drop, 4 or 5 figures on a fancy website before they're actually out there building clientele, generating some income. Not unless they have, some kind of funding or this is their second business and I I just don't think you have to have that in order to start landing clients. A landing page is sufficient until you have the budget for that.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. Awesome. And then what tips do you have based on different platforms? So, you know, if we're thinking about sales copy, if we're looking at, you know, Facebook ads, Google
Mhm.
ads, flyer, our website, you know, what are kind of tips that you see across different platforms or scenarios, I guess?
Yeah. So as far as Facebook ads, um, it's all about the hook. So that first piece of copy that they see and the image is really important too, has to be bright and eye catching. Um, right now, what I see working is I see a lot of video working. So just even talking head on your cell phone, just say, hey, I'm out here on location, on a job, blah, blah, blah. That gives a little personal connection as well as it's moving, which helps stop the scroll. Um, Short form video is huge right now. So if you're into doing organic and you can do before and afters, or you can do like the sped up, like I did a driveway today is a day in my life as a power washer, and you do like the fast motion of like people go nuts over that stuff, and those can always be used for ads as well, or even like building video view audiences on Facebook. um yeah, so my big ones are make sure your hooks are strong and don't be afraid to get some short form video content out there because that is the type of content that people are consuming the most right now because it's fast.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. I have two questions from that. First question is, do you see Facebook ads working better with price included in the ad or leaving price off of it? And that may be industry specific, but
You know,
I'd ask.
I would say if you have a special going on, if it's, X amount off, put it in there. Like that's numbers draw the eye. But I don't think you should feel like you have to list your pricing all the time. If if you have a special, that's really going to be what attracts people. But if you're just in general trying to book more calls, I would not necessarily put the price. I would focus more on the benefits. Like, why are you different? Why are you unique? Why are you better than your competition? Because if it all becomes about price all the time, then it's basically just a race to the bottom for whoever's the cheapest and not necessarily the best service, not necessarily a person whose company has the same values as theirs. So we don't want to make it about price all the time. Um, we want to make it about quality and service as well. So
Yeah, no,
that's my
that makes sense. Does make sense. And the other question I had was around the idea of with, you know, like ads and stuff like that for Facebook specifically, you know, you can run different objectives, right?
Mhm.
So link clicks or whatever it may be, you know,
Yep.
is it best to try to get people to a landing page that's like has a bunch of sales copy on it, or just get them in like a lead form or a message? What would you say works best in that situation?
It depends on what your end goal for them is. If you're just trying to build your list so that you can market to them through email, then I would say a lead form is great. A landing page that is to just capturing the email, join our newsletter list. that's great too. But if you're looking to actively book calls, you're going to want to send them to a page that has more information about you and why your business is the one that they want to work with for the services that you offer.
Yeah. No. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. And I do see a lot of times where sometimes people will run an ad and just push it to their website. Obviously, that's probably not as effective as running it to a dedicated landing page that matches up with everything. Correct.
Yeah, the problem with pushing traffic directly to your website is that there, in general, tends to be a lot going on websites, and for good reason. Websites aren't designed to funnel traffic. They're designed to give people lots of options. And when you give people lots of options, it waters down the response. So anytime that you take someone to a website where there's a navigation bar, where there's like 5 or 6 different places that they can go right there at the click of a mouse, you're splitting your results because suddenly they get there and they're like, ooh, I was watching this ad about power washing services, but now I see that they have these, clean chemicals and I want to learn about that. And before you know it, they're gone and they never actually did the thing that you wanted because they got sidetracked by these other things. So if you're looking for them to take a very specific action, you have to send them to a place where that's the only action that's available. Like that's the only option. Either
Yeah.
in or out, guys.
Yep. No, that definitely makes sense. And then I do want to touch on you talked about doing videos, short form content's big right now. But with videos, do you have, some sort of way that you actually structure those videos, or is it just kind of just winging it? What seems
Mhm.
to work best for actually, bringing leads in?
Yeah. So what I recommend is a formula: hook, value, offer. So HVO, hook, value, offer. The hook is that attention grabbing statement. That first 3 seconds, the first thing that comes out of your mouth is what makes people determine whether they're going to stay and watch it or whether they're going to keep scrolling. So you have to make it something that they're going to be like, whoa, okay, cool. Value would be the body, the content of what you're giving them. So if you're doing a video that's based on, um, hey guys, here's 5 tips on how to get ready for your power washing professional to come, then you want to go, that's those 5 tips, that's that takeaway that you want them to have. And then your offer, which is like your call to action. um, so maybe you're watching right now and you don't actually have a power washing professional coming, you need one. Go ahead and click the link in my bio to book a call, call us today type of thing. So some sort of attention grabber, the meat of the video that gives them an aha, and then that call to action towards the offer.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Awesome. Well, I do appreciate everything you've shared. Obviously there's many deep rabbit holes that we could go down with this stuff, but any like broad overview, just tips, tricks, tactics that we can implement when actually, running ads or writing sales copy?
Yeah. So my big two would be know your audience. Know your audience really well. The more you know them, the better you can communicate with them and the more they will stay with you. Their attention will stay with you. And then just work those hooks, that initial attention grabber, the headlines, the subject lines. Those are super important. Make sure that you're really thinking about what's going to grab their attention.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. If someone does want some of your help writing sales copy, how can they actually get a hold of you?
Yeah, so they can find me on my Facebook page, Christa Nichols Copy, or they can visit my website, christanichols.com.
Awesome. And we'll link both of those below this video. But I do really appreciate your time today. And yeah, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. Good luck, everybody.
So that is the video. I hope it was super helpful. It was for me. This is stuff I've been learning for a while too, but it's always good to sit down with someone that's just a master at that craft. So I hope it was super helpful. If it was, please do like this video and subscribe. We'll be dropping more videos. Other than that, if you do want more, you can check out the links below. We've got free resources, a membership. Check that stuff out. If you're really trying to grow your business, it can be super helpful. So other than that, we will see you in the next one.